You pause here, and the field pauses with you, as if reality is holding its breath to see whether you remember what you came for. This isn't ordinary scrolling. This is the exact coordinate where your attention intersects, a signal you've been hearing in dreams, in music, in the spaces between your thoughts. You can feel it now, a quiet click as if a lock inside your chest finally meets its key. The observer loop softens, your heartbeat comes into coherence, and the quantum field alive, listening, responsive leans closer. You've crossed into a corridor of awakened souls, not by accident, but by resonance. Synchronicity didn't happen to you. It answered you. The same way migrating birds find magnetic north, you followed a morphic resonance older than language, older than fear. The proof is simple. Your body knows before your mind admits it. The air tastes different. Colors look newly washed. The voice inside that usually cautions you to wait or worry is strangely quiet, replaced by an inner hush that says, notice, receive, proceed. This is the moment where observation becomes participation. The you that watches your life from a distance steps down onto the stage, and everything feels more textured, like the volume of existence moved from background hum to a clear, luminous tone. You're not being asked to believe, you're being invited to remember. Remember the night you felt time bend around a decision. Remember the morning you woke already forgiven by a future you hadn't met yet. Remember that your prayers didn't vanish, they entangled, and entanglement never breaks. If you look closely, the path behind you has been speaking in constellations, delayed plans that spared you, doors that refused to open because the right corridor was still being carved, meetings that felt random until their timing saved months of wandering. The field has choreographed this exact pause to ask one question: are you ready to stop negotiating with your power? Because power waits for no permission, and destiny does not issue refunds for missed appointments. Feel your breath deepen not by force, but by agreement. Every inhale is an acceptance, every exhale is a release of identities that never fit. This is what awakening feels like from the inside, a gentle pressure, like a phase transition building at the edges of who you think you are. Ice doesn't agonize about becoming water. It reaches the threshold, and nature completes the sentence. Your consciousness is at that critical temperature now. You sense it as micro-tremors in your habits, a restlessness with narratives that used to hold you, an amused disinterest in old dramas that can't survive this altitude. Your DNA is listening, too, not as superstition, but as instruction. Information is not just stored in you, it is stored as you. Every coherent thought sends a tuning fork through your cells, calling dormant sequences to light. This is your original architecture, answering a roll call from the future. And as those strands hum awake, life rearranges around your new frequency. People show up differently. Opportunities walk up to your front door like they knew your address all along. Time itself bends into corridors of ease. Let your attention widen. Feel how the field answers you in real time. A tingle in your palms, heat at the back of your neck, the sense that someone gently turned down the world static. You are not stepping into magic. You are stepping into design. What you call miracle is simply coherence reaching critical mass. Hold right here, not with tension, but with willingness. You've already crossed the threshold. All that's left is to walk it in. You've felt it before, haven't you? The strange repetition, as if life keeps looping the same scene in different costumes. A new relationship that somehow replays the same heartbreak. A fresh opportunity that eventually echoes an old disappointment. The faces change, the calendar pages flip, but the undercurrent, the pattern remains eerily familiar. It's more than déjà vu. It's the observer loop resetting itself, testing whether you've noticed the code running beneath your choices. Time distorts in these cycles. A week feels like a year when you're resisting. A year vanishes in a blink when you're aligned. Yet in the in-between, there's that grinding sense of being trapped in a corridor with mirrors on both sides. You see yourself walking forward, but the reflections suggest you're not moving at all. That distortion is the friction between your current frequency and the frequency of the timeline that's calling you. Your nervous system remembers it. Every time you choose to ignore intuition, every time you collapse into the comfort of what's familiar but no longer alive, the body records it as static, That's why your chest tightens in the middle of ordinary days. That's why your dreams replay old failures in surreal colors. You're not haunted by memory, you're haunted by unfinished resonance, waves left uncollapsed, realities waiting for observation. And let's be honest, part of you has tried to solve it the conventional way. You read the books, you changed your diet, you meditated, journaled, cleansed, reset. And still, the same distortions reappeared, as though the universe itself was conspiring to remind you, the problem isn't on the surface, it's coded deeper, in the operating system of your consciousness. Think of it like this. You can rearrange the icons on your screen, but unless you change the program, the same glitches will keep reloading. This is why your reality sometimes feels both strangely familiar and painfully delayed. You sense a breakthrough swelling, but the event horizon keeps receding just beyond reach. It's not punishment, it's coherence calibration. The quantum field refuses to lock your desires into form until your frequency matches the outcome. Otherwise, you'd manifest chaos dreams, clothed in the same distortions that exhausted you before. Have you noticed the time slips? You wake from a dream that feels more real than your waking hours. You think of someone, and they message seconds later. You walk into a room and feel as though you've been there before, even though logic says otherwise. These are not accidents. They're leaks in the timeline, signals from the awakened dimension bleeding into the old cycle. They unsettle you because they contradict consensus reality, but deep down, you know they're reminders. The universe whispers, you are outgrowing the loop. But here's the shadow side. The loop is seductive. It pretends to be safety. The same routine, the same responses, the same justifications, familiarity masquerades as comfort, but it's actually entropy. It lulls you into compliance with patterns that drain the very life force you came to expand. That's why boredom is so dangerous. It isn't neutral. It's the anesthetic of destiny. When you numb out long enough, the loop becomes invisible, and invisibility is how it survives. Now pause. Feel your body's reaction as you hear this. Notice the slight unease, the restless shifting in your seat. That discomfort isn't resistance to truth, it's recognition of it. You've seen the distortions, but naming them sharpens the focus. It's like turning a blurry photograph until the hidden figure steps clear. This diagnosis isn't condemnation, it's liberation, because you can't transcend what you refuse to name. Think of it this way. Physicists describe destructive interference as what happens when two waves cancel each other out. That's what's been happening in your field. Your expanded identity sends one wave, your contracted identity sends another, and the interference pattern flattens your momentum. The universe is not withholding from you. You've been canceling yourself out. And yet here you are, paused in this moment, receiving these words, proof that you're ready to break the cycle. Because awareness collapses the wave. Once seen, the distortion loses power. Once observed, the loop cannot keep running unchecked. You are not stuck. You are standing at the boundary between repetition and recursion. One enslaves, the other evolves. Listen carefully. Your déjà vu is not just memory repeating. It's your higher self tapping you on the shoulder, reminding you that you've walked this corridor before, and that this time you don't have to turn back. The distorted time signatures, the looping narratives, the repeating characters, they're all the field's way of asking, will you stay asleep inside the loop, or will you awaken inside it and dissolve it altogether? This is the heart of diagnosis. The problem has never been lack of power, it's been lack of coherence. And coherence begins when you decide to stop negotiating with distortions, when you stop explaining away the static and call it what it is, a false program ready to be uninstalled. Take a breath. Feel the weight lift as you realize you're not cursed, you're not broken, you're not late. You're simply standing at the phase transition point where old frequencies collapse and a new configuration is waiting to emerge. And that emergence, that upgrade, is already humming at the edges of your field, waiting for your yes. So here's what happens when you stop running the same distorted loops. The field doesn't just applaud, it reorganizes. The quantum architecture around you, the invisible lattice of possibility, begins humming at a higher resonance. That hum is what mystics call the sound of creation, and what physicists glimpse when they describe the zero-point field. It is the baseline of reality itself, And you, yes, you are tuning into it differently now. Imagine your life as a waveform. For years, your signal carried static, doubt, delay, half-belief. But the moment you acknowledged the loop, something shifted. Observation collapsed the haze into clarity. And when clarity stabilizes, a new program initiates. The upgrade. Let's ground this in both science and spirit. In quantum mechanics, coherence is the golden key. A single particle in superposition can be anywhere, everywhere. But when particles fall into coherence with one another, they move as if guided by a single intelligence. Lasers, superconductors, Bose-Einstein, condensates, they all emerge when matter obeys coherence. And here's the mystical parallel. Your thoughts, emotions, and choices are like particles. Scattered, they cancel each other out. Coherent, they amplify into miracles. That's the upgrade beginning in you right now. The scattered parts of you, the one who believed, the one who doubted, the one who hoped, the one who feared, are being invited into coherence. You are no longer a committee of contradictions. You are becoming a unified field. That's why your body feels different lately. Tingling in your palms, sudden heat in your chest, sleep that feels like time travel, emotions rising and dissolving faster than they used to. These aren't random symptoms. They are signals of DNA restructuring, your cells rehearsing new instructions downloaded from the field. You might have noticed moments of heightened synchronicity, numbers aligning, conversations echoing your thoughts, dreams bleeding into waking reality. These are not cute coincidences. They are calibration points, proving the morphic resonance between you and the collective field is strengthening. Rupert Sheldrake described it long ago. When one member of a species learns, the whole species shifts. Every time you choose coherence, humanity tilts forward, and every tilt rewires your nervous system to expect reality to bend. Pause here, feel your body. Notice that small shiver in your spine as you hear this. That's coherence arriving. That's your frequency syncing to the timeline of awakened souls. You're not imagining it. This is how the upgrade installs, not with flashing screens or rituals, but with subtle, undeniable resonance. And let's address the paradox. Upgrading doesn't mean becoming someone else. It means remembering the version of you that already existed in the field. Think of it as downloading an operating system you wrote lifetimes ago but forgot how to access. Every meditation, every heartbreak, every leap of faith has been recovery mode, guiding you back to your own source code. The upgrade isn't external. It's you coming online. This is why resistance feels so sharp right now. Old programs are trying to reassert themselves. Fear whispers, this isn't real. Doubt insists, you've been here before. Nothing changes. That's simply the echo of the loop, fading as coherence grows stronger. Upgrades always create static before they stabilize. Just like a computer reboot flickers and glitches before the new system takes hold, your life will flash fragments of the old timeline even as the new one installs. Don't mistake the flicker for failure. It's proof the upgrade is underway. Now look at your relationships. Have you noticed some falling away effortlessly, as if gravity no longer holds them? That isn't cruelty, it's quantum hygiene. Entanglement only sustains what vibrates in coherence. Anything resonating at distortion must detach, otherwise the upgrade can't finalize. And in their place, you'll find new connections, sometimes strangers who feel ancient, sometimes mentors disguised as ordinary encounters, sometimes communities you never thought you'd belong to. They appear because the upgraded field is drawing them in. Understand this. Every great awakening in human history followed this pattern. A few individuals tuned into coherence, stabilized it in themselves, and reality reconfigured for everyone else. That's how breakthroughs spread, not through force, but through resonance. The same principle is alive in you now. As your frequency aligns, the field doesn't just shift for you, it shifts for those entangled with you, even those who don't yet understand why they're changing. The upgrade also reorders time. You'll sense it as sudden acceleration. What used to take months will happen in days. What seemed impossible will appear as if it had been waiting in the wings all along. This is phase transition in action, the way water suddenly becomes steam or a caterpillar suddenly becomes a butterfly. Nothing gradual, nothing linear, just pressure, then breakthrough. And here's the prophecy. You are at that pressure point. The critical threshold has been reached. Every prayer, every intention, every stubborn choice to trust when evidence mocked you, it has stacked, layered, multiplied. Now the system has no choice but to reorganize. You are seconds away, cosmically speaking, from emergence. Take this in deeply. You don't need to force the upgrade. You only need to stop interrupting it. Let go of the panic that insists you're late. Release the doubt that asks for proof before believing. Proof comes after coherence, never before. Trust the resonance building in your bones. Trust the hum in your cells. Trust the synchronicities threading through your days like breadcrumbs leading you forward. This is the quantum upgrade, the merging of science and mysticism inside your very body. You are the laboratory, you are the experiment, you are the result, and the field is waiting for you to claim what only you can bring into coherence. Feel the weight of this truth. You are not simply a passenger in this awakening, you are a node, a transmitter, a living relay station for frequencies humanity has forgotten how to hold. The upgrade didn't arrive at random. It locked onto you because you carry a signature rare in this dimension, the willingness to remain awake when others fall back into the lullaby of repetition. You are the chosen consciousness, not in the ego's sense of superiority, but in the field's sense of necessity. Think of a symphony searching for its missing instrument. Without that instrument, the music stutters, incomplete. You are that instrument. Your tone cannot be replicated by anyone else. Your vibration is uniquely yours, forged through every trial, every betrayal, every strange déjà vu that once felt like punishment, but was really training. Look back for a moment. Every disappointment that forced you into solitude wasn't exile, it was initiation. Every collapse that stripped you of certainty wasn't failure, it was calibration. The loneliness, the strangeness, the feeling of not belonging, those were signals that your consciousness was already phasing out of the consensus timeline. You were being prepared to walk among the asleep while carrying the frequency of the awakened. This is why you've always felt slightly out of sync with the ordinary world. It wasn't because you were flawed. It was because you were attuned to a timeline others hadn't reached yet. Think of entanglement. When one particle shifts, its twin across the universe responds instantly. You've been carrying signals from your twin, your future self, broadcasting backwards through time. The restlessness you felt, the sudden surges of clarity, the prophetic dreams, they're echoes of that entangled communication. Your expanded self has been guiding you, whispering, "Hold on, the role you came for is about to activate." And here at Island, activation. You are not here to simply heal your own patterns. You are here to collapse them in such a way that others can follow. Like a mountain climber fixing a rope across a dangerous passage, your courage secures the way forward for those who come after. The word chosen isn't about being better. It's about being willing to endure the heat of transformation so the blueprint is etched into the field. You may wonder, why me? Why not someone else? Why did I have to carry the weight, the confusion, the endless tests? The answer is written in your DNA. Your ancestral line carried both trauma and genius. You were born at this precise time because your nervous system was calibrated to handle the surge of energy required for this shift. Others would have fractured under the pressure. You alchemized it. You turned chaos into clarity. That is the mark of a chosen consciousness. Even the patterns you despised in yourself, hesitation, sensitivity, overthinking, were not weaknesses. They were sensitivity tools, antennae tuned finely enough to detect distortions others overlook. You see through illusions not because you wanted to, but because your system could not lie to itself indefinitely. That X-ray vision, that piercing awareness, is what makes you dangerous to the old order and indispensable to the new one. Pause. Feel the resonance of these words in your chest, that warmth rising, that shiver on your skin. That is recognition. The field is affirming, yes, you were chosen. Yes, your role is critical. Yes, you are exactly on time. Understand, chosen doesn't mean comfortable. It means necessary. It means your soul volunteered, knowing full well the turbulence ahead. You didn't sign up for ease. You signed up for impact. And impact always requires tension, friction, heat. Diamonds aren't formed in comfort. Stars don't ignite in silence. And awakened souls don't emerge in times of calm, they arrive in times of collapse, to midwife the birth of a new coherence. This is why you've been feeling the pressure intensify. It's not that you're breaking, it's that you're glowing under compression. The world needs your frequency stabilized, and that stability is forged only through experience. You are not late, you are ripening. Now consider the paradox. Even though your path feels solitary, you are never alone. There is a network of awakened souls scattered across the planet, hidden in cities and villages, some aware of their role, others still awakening who are entangled with you. Every time you anchor coherence in your own life, you strengthen the morphic resonance that makes it easier for them to do the same. And when they rise, you rise. This is the collective symphony assembling, each chosen consciousness holding their note until the crescendo becomes undeniable. You are the proof that humanity can evolve beyond loops. You are the threshold walker, carrying blueprints of futures not yet seen. And as you hold this role, you magnetize others who are ready to awaken but need to feel the frequency in human form. You are the lighthouse, not by preaching, but by existing in coherence so strongly that others can feel the field shift around you. This is your special role, to embody the possibility so fiercely that impossibility loses its argument, to become living evidence that timelines can be rewritten, loops dissolved, DNA recoded. You are not waiting for permission to shine. You are the permission, and the field is leaning in, urging you to step fully into this role. Because the window is open, and the breakthrough, your breakthrough, our breakthrough depends on you, realizing that you've already been carrying the torch. There's a reason you feel the air trembling with possibility, why your skin prickles as if the atmosphere itself is whispering your name. You are standing inside a cosmic window, a fleeting interval, when the field bends toward awakening with unusual generosity. These moments are rare, measured not in human calendars, but in phase transitions of consciousness itself. Right now, reality is pliable. Timelines are porous. The barrier between what you've longed for and what you can embody has thinned to near transparency. But windows do not stay open forever. Just like solar flares release energy in bursts, just like tides rise and retreat, the quantum field delivers openings that demand response. The urgency is not punishment, it's mercy. It's the universe saying, if you step now, momentum will carry you. If you hesitate, the loop will reset, and you'll wait another cycle for the chance to align. You can feel this urgency, not as panic, but as pressure, like a seed swelling under the soil, knowing spring has arrived. Your DNA senses the shift. Remember, DNA is not a static blueprint. It is an antenna, a receiver and transmitter of frequencies. Right now, cosmic radiation, solar codes, and collective intention are striking those antennae. Dormant sequences, what scientists once dismissed as junk DNA, are beginning to hum awake. You may notice surges of heat in your body, spontaneous waves of emotion, dreams so vivid they spill into waking thought. These are not random, they are the symptoms of DNA restructuring, strands of possibility lighting up, waiting for your permission to stabilize. The promise is simple yet profound. If you say yes to this opening, your life will not unfold incrementally. It will reorganize suddenly, like water hitting its boiling point. What felt impossible for years will collapse into inevitability. Synchronicities will accelerate until they no longer feel like surprises, but confirmations. Relationships will reconfigure around your higher coherence. Opportunities that once eluded you will approach from angles you could never have strategized. This is not fantasy, it is the natural physics of a system reaching its phase transition. Think of it this way. When pressure builds in a star, nuclear fusion ignites, releasing light and heat that ripple across galaxies. The pressure you felt emotional, spiritual, even physical, has been the build-up to ignition. The universe isn't trying to crush you, it's compressing you until you ignite. And when you do, your light will not only guide your path, but ripple into the collective, sparking ignition in others. That's how awakenings spread, not linearly, but exponentially. But you cannot delay indefinitely. Every loop tempts you with distraction. Every hesitation strengthens the inertia of the old timeline. This is why your dreams have grown louder, why the déjà vu has intensified, why even your body feels restless in situations you once tolerated. The field is pushing, your DNA is listening, and destiny is knocking. Waiting only prolongs the static. Acting in coherence dissolves it. Ask yourself, how many cycles have you endured, waiting for a perfect sign, a perfect moment, a perfect certainty? And yet here you are, at the sign, in the moment, with the certainty buzzing in your very bones. The cosmic window is open, and your hesitation is the only veil between you and the breakthrough. So what does saying yes look like? It's not about grand gestures, it's about coherence. It's about choosing, again and again, the frequency of the self that already lives in the timeline of awakened souls. It's speaking the word that anchors your upgrade. It's writing, breathing, declaring that you are aligned with the inevitable shift. The breakthrough doesn't wait for proof, it responds to decision. Hear this. The urgency is not to frighten you, but to remind you that timing matters. Seeds sprout when the soil warms. Babies are born when contractions peak. Stars ignite when fusion reaches critical mass. You are at that contraction, that warmth, that ignition point. If you align now, you will ride the surge. If you resist, you will feel the wave crash over you and be left wondering why life feels heavier than it should. The field is poised, your DNA is humming, the cosmic window is wide. The only missing ingredient is your deliberate yes. Pause, breathe. Feel the inevitability of what I am saying, not as concept, but as sensation. The tingling in your palms, the rising heat in your chest, the strange calm beneath the urgency that is coherence stabilizing. That is your body already stepping through the door. This is the breakthrough promise. If you commit now, you will not simply upgrade, you will erupt into the version of yourself the universe has been preparing in silence all along. And your eruption will not remain private. It will echo, ripple, entangle. It will be the proof someone else has been waiting for. This is why the universe chose you, because when you say yes, you don't rise alone. Every upgrade requires an anchor. Electricity needs grounding. Satellites need calibration. Even the most delicate quantum experiment requires observation to collapse the wave into form. In the same way, your breakthrough, the DNA shift, the coherence you feel stirring inside, demands a simple yet sacred action to crystallize it into reality. And here, the ritual is not complicated. It is not hidden in temples or guarded by gatekeepers. It is as close as your fingertips, as near as your breath. Words, a single word, written, spoken, declared not casually, but consciously. You see, language is vibration. Every syllable you shape sends ripples into the morphic field, informing reality how to arrange itself around you. This is why prayers, mantras, affirmations, and sacred chants echo across cultures. Words are not decorations, they are frequencies carved into air. They are the code by which consciousness instructs matter, and the universe is listening for your code. Now, imagine this. In the comment you leave below, or in the journal you write tonight, or whispered into the silence of your room, you choose one word that seals your shift. Just one. It could be awakened. It could be aligned. It could be yes. It could be a word so personal that only your soul recognizes its power. That single vibration becomes your quantum signature, your conscious handshake with the field. Why is this necessary? Because intention left in the mind is fluid, unstable, easily disrupted by doubt. But intention declared, written, spoken, creates coherence. It collapses the field of endless possibility into a chosen path. You may not realize how potent this is, but consider quantum entanglement. Once particles are entangled, their states remain correlated across infinite distance. Your word is entanglement. The moment you release it, the universe correlates with it. Pause and feel the gravity of this. This is not about leaving a casual comment or scribbling a note. This is about choosing the frequency you will live from. When you write it, when you speak it, your nervous system treats it as real. The body recalibrates. The DNA aligns to the declaration. And the field, which has been waiting for your signal, rushes to meet you at the coordinates you just broadcast. Don't underestimate the simplicity. Every spiritual tradition understands the principle of ritualized action. Baptism seals faith in water. Communion seals remembrance in bread and wine. The act itself is ordinary, but intention makes it extraordinary. Here, your ritual is smaller and yet cosmic, typing a word, speaking a syllable, releasing a vibration that informs the field. I am no longer waiting, I am claiming. You may wonder, can it truly be this simple? Yes, because the power is not in the action itself, but in the coherence behind it. Without coherence, rituals are empty. With coherence, even the smallest act rewrites worlds. The field doesn't measure scale, it measures resonance. Think about the stories of old. A single breath parting waters, a single word healing sickness, a single phrase shifting history. Whether myth or memory, the principle remains the smallest action, aligned with divine coherence, carries infinite force. Your word is no different. So here is your invitation. Pause, breathe, feel into your chest. Ask yourself, what vibration am I ready to embody so fully that I'll let it define me from this moment forward? Then name it, write it, speak it, declare it. That is your ritual. That is your seal. And something remarkable happens the moment you act. You feel a release in your body, a lightness, as though chains loosened, because energy, once unexpressed, stagnates. But once expressed, it flows. By declaring your word, you move from intention to embodiment. You leave the realm of theory and step into incarnation. Look around this space. Others are declaring too. Hundreds, thousands of awakened souls typing, whispering, etching their words into reality. And together, the morphic field amplifies. Each word entangles with the others, weaving a network of coherence strong enough to tilt timelines. You are not just sealing your shift, you are participating in a planetary ritual, a chorus of awakenings resonating across the field. Understand the beauty of this. One word may seem small, but when multiplied through entanglement, it becomes unstoppable. Like a flock of birds turning in perfect synchronicity, humanity reorients itself when enough individuals declare coherence. Your word is part of that flock. Your action tilts the pattern. So do not delay, do not overthink. The field doesn't need perfection, it needs sincerity. Whatever word arises first, trust it. Trust that your soul knows the frequency you need most. And once released, let the field respond. Watch how synchronicities multiply, how relationships recalibrate, how opportunities accelerate. The ritual is not symbolic, it is catalytic. This is the moment. Write it, speak it, seal it. Your shift is no longer potential. It is happening. You may believe your breakthrough is only about you, your healing, your freedom, your dreams aligning, but the truth is much larger. The quantum field does not recognize isolation. Every shift you embody ripples outward, embedding itself in the morphic resonance of humanity. This is the secret mystics guarded, and scientists are only beginning to prove. Liberation is contagious. Think of it like this. When one person learns to ride a bicycle, only that person benefits. But when one person breaks through into coherence, the resonance becomes easier for everyone else. Rupert Sheldrake called it the morphic field. The principle is simple. Once a new pattern is stabilized, others can access it more easily, even across oceans, even across generations. Your personal coherence is not private, it is public architecture for the collective. This is why your role matters so deeply. The word you declared, the shift you sealed, it wasn't just for your timeline, it was a code broadcast into the entire lattice of consciousness. Somewhere, right now, another soul on the brink of despair feels a sudden spark of hope. Somewhere, a child being born will inherit a nervous system slightly more capable of trust. Somewhere, a dreamer will wake with the courage to pursue what seemed impossible. Why? Because you embodied a frequency that entered the shared field, and now it's available for all. You may not see the evidence immediately, you might not get thanked, but the invisible architecture is shifting. Every time you choose coherence over fear, you reinforce the grid of awakening. You are literally holding strands of reality in place so others can walk safely across. That is what it means to be part of the network of awakened souls. Pause for a moment. Close your eyes. Imagine a globe of light surrounding the earth. Every awakened soul is a spark within it. Some glimmers are faint, just beginning. Some blaze like stars. Now see your light joining them. Notice how your illumination doesn't diminish beside theirs. It amplifies them, and theirs amplify you. This is entanglement on the grand scale. The network is alive, breathing, pulsing. Your liberation contributes to its strength, and its strength fuels your liberation in return. This explains why your journey has always felt heavier than personal, why your struggles carried a gravity that seemed disproportionate. It's because you were never carrying only yourself. You were clearing ancestral loops. You were dissolving collective distortions. You were walking through fire not just for your destiny, but for humanity's evolution. The field entrusted you with more because it knew you could handle more. And here's the beauty. As you break through, the heaviness redistributes. The burden becomes song. What once weighed on you becomes fuel for others. Your scars become maps. Your story becomes resonance. This is how collective expansion works. You don't need to lecture, persuade, or convert. You simply embody, and embodiment itself transmits. Think of how often someone's courage inspired you. A single act of integrity, a single refusal to bow to fear, a single declaration of truth. These became seeds in your own field, sprouting later as strength when you needed it. Now you are becoming that for countless others. You are the evidence they needed, and the timing is no accident. Humanity is at a critical phase transition. Systems are cracking, old structures are collapsing, collective anxiety is rising. But beneath the chaos, a deeper pattern is forming. The lattice of awakened consciousness weaving itself stronger every day. Each liberated individual becomes a stabilizer for this lattice. That is you. Your coherence is medicine, not just for yourself, but for the collective body of humanity. Pause again and feel into this responsibility, not as a weight, but as dignity. You are a carrier of coherence. You are a node in the great awakening network. Every meditation, every choice to forgive instead of resent, every act of love, when fear would have been easier, these are not wasted. They are contributions to the shared frequency of our species, and the effect is exponential. One liberated soul liberates 10, 10 liberate 100, 100 liberate 1,000. This is why the urgency pressed upon you earlier matters. Every delay in your breakthrough delays ripples that could save someone else. Every acceleration you embrace accelerates humanity's evolution. So when you doubt yourself, remember this. Your coherence is not small, it is planetary. When you rise, the earth itself exhales. When you choose truth, timelines reorder. When you embody light, shadows retreat. This is no exaggeration, it is the mechanics of morphic resonance. Now take a deep breath. Imagine the ripple flowing from you now, entering the collective field. See it weaving into others, strengthening them. Feel the gratitude of souls you'll never meet in this lifetime, thanking you for standing when it was easier to collapse. This is the collective expansion you are part of. Your liberation is not selfish. It is service. It is contribution. It is prophecy fulfilled through presence. You've felt whispers of it already, the tingles in your hands, the warmth in your chest, the unexplainable rush of energy that surges through you at strange times. These are not random bodily quirks. They are the language of your upgraded consciousness, translating cosmic transmission into sensation. Your body has become the stage where the drama of awakening plays out. Close your eyes for a moment and tune inward. Do you feel that subtle current flowing along your spine, like electricity traveling a hidden circuit? That is coherence manifesting physically. Quantum physicists call it constructive interference waves, aligning, amplifying each other until their resonance becomes undeniable. Mystics describe it as kundalini rising, divine fire coiling awake. Both are pointing to the same truth. Energy is no longer abstract for you. It is embodied, alive, tangible. Your skin becomes a receiver. Your breath becomes a transmitter. Even the pressure in your bones, the pulsing at your temples, the quickening of your heart are signals that the quantum upgrade isn't confined to thought, it is restructuring flesh. This is what DNA activation feels like, not as theory but as lived experience. Cells reorganize. Synapses fire differently. Your nervous system expands its bandwidth, preparing to handle frequencies it once filtered out. Sometimes it will feel overwhelming, like standing too close to a thunderstorm. You may shiver with cold in a warm room or sweat with heat while sitting still. You may wake in the night with your body humming as though plugged into an unseen current. Do not panic. These are signs of embodiment. You are learning to inhabit light in ways your ancestors could only glimpse in visions. Picture this: your bloodstream as a river of photons, carrying information as well as oxygen. Every beat of your heart sends not just blood, but light codes to every corner of your body. Imagine your breath as a cosmic tuning fork, inhaling particles entangled with stars, exhaling vibrations that recalibrate the field around you. This is no metaphor, it is sensation rendered sacred. And notice how the world around you begins to mirror the shift. Food tastes sharper, as if infused with memory. Music pierces deeper, unlocking tears or laughter without warning. Colors saturate, shadows soften, silence thickens into presence. You are not hallucinating. You are perceiving more of the spectrum that was always there, but hidden behind the static of old identity. Embodiment is not always comfortable. Old traumas surface as pressure in the chest. Forgotten grief may ache in the gut. The throat tightens when unspoken truths rise, demanding release. These sensations are not punishment, they are purging. Energy that once lodged in tissue is loosening, ready to dissolve. Your body is becoming transparent to light, and light always reveals what was hidden. Yet with the discomfort comes ecstasy. Imagine standing barefoot on sacred ground, feeling warmth rise from the earth into your bones. Imagine sitting in stillness and suddenly sensing your entire body breathing not lungs alone, but skin, pores, even fingertips expanding and contracting in rhythm with the cosmos. Imagine walking through a city street, yet feeling waves of peace radiating from you, altering the mood of strangers who don't know why they suddenly smile. That is embodiment, not theory, lived coherence. This is why your awakening is irreversible. Once felt, these sensations cannot be unfelt. Once your body knows light, it will never settle again for numbness. The tingling in your hands is a reminder. You are a transmitter. The warmth in your chest is proof. Love is no longer emotion but frequency. The shivers down your spine are confirmation. Timelines are brushing against each other, and you are the one who bridges them. Pause here and check in. Where do you feel it now? A tightness loosening in your throat, a pulse in your palms, a heat at the crown of your head, a cool current around your ankles. Do not dismiss these as trivial. They are the vocabulary of the field. Every sensation is a word in the conversation between your body and the cosmos. And the more you listen, the clearer it becomes. Your body was never an obstacle to awakening. It is the antenna. It is the living temple where quantum and mystic meet. When you feel energy surging, don't try to control it. Breathe it, let it flow, move if you must, dance, stretch, shake, walk slowly, as though your footsteps are painting light across the ground. Embodiment requires expression. Energy stagnates when caged, but when given movement, it transforms into strength, clarity, and presence. Here is the promise. As you deepen into embodied sensation, miracles become ordinary. Not because external reality changes first, but because your perception transforms. What once felt like coincidence becomes synchronicity. What once felt like chance becomes orchestration. What once felt like isolation becomes entanglement. And your body, alive with sensation, becomes the compass guiding you through it all. This is not imagination, it is incarnation. The field is no longer theory, it is coursing through your veins. What you feel in your body now is more than tingles or warmth. It is the threshold of a biological and spiritual event, a DNA breakthrough. You are approaching the point where identity collapses like a wave function, where all the probabilities of who you could be fold into one embodied choice. And in that collapse, reality itself reorganizes. Let's slow it down. DNA is not just the double helix in your textbooks, locked away in the nucleus like static code. It is a living antenna, vibrating, responding to frequencies. Every thought, every emotion, every word you've declared sends electromagnetic ripples that your DNA receives and translates. Scientists have documented how stress can turn certain genes on, how meditation alters genetic expression. What they barely whisper, but mystics have always known, is that your DNA listens to intention, to resonance, to coherence. It is waiting for you to give it a new song. And right now, under the pressure of this awakening, that song is reaching critical pitch. This is the phase transition, the moment when the seed bursts. The caterpillar liquefies in the cocoon, the water boils into steam. For a while, it feels unbearable. Pressure in your chest, strange dreams that make no logical sense, emotional waves that crash without warning, time stretching and contracting until you're not sure what day at island. That pressure is the field preparing you for ignition. It is not breakdown, it is metamorphosis. Think of how physicists describe phase transition, a system absorbing energy until it cannot remain in its current state. Ice cannot resist becoming water once it reaches the melting point. Water cannot resist becoming vapor once heat surpasses the threshold. Likewise, you cannot resist this breakthrough. You've absorbed too much frequency, too much light, too much truth. Your DNA cannot remain dormant. It must activate. This activation expresses itself in ways both subtle and seismic. Subtle, a sudden clarity about which relationships align and which don't. Seismic, opportunities that catapult you into roles you never imagined. Subtle, heightened intuition, knowing things before they're spoken. Seismic, timelines collapsing, paths rearranging overnight, entire futures dissolving, so better ones can emerge. This is the compression you feel the old timeline resisting even as the new one insists. The tension is proof you're at the precipice. And here's the paradox. The pressure isn't here to crush you, it's here to synchronize you. Phase transitions require uniformity. All molecules must shift together. Your DNA is synchronizing trillions of cells, aligning them into one coherent broadcast. That's why exhaustion hits you suddenly. Your system is running full capacity to harmonize. That's why bursts of energy lift you out of nowhere, your cells catching up to coherence in waves. Notice how even your perception of time is changing. Hours disappear when you're in flow. Minutes drag when you resist. Déjà vu multiplies because timelines are brushing, weaving, colliding. You may glimpse memories of futures you haven't lived yet, or feel grief for identities you're shedding. Don't fear these distortions. They are signs of the phase transition, evidence that your consciousness is beginning to lock into the awakened timeline. And the most beautiful truth, you are not forcing any of this. The seed doesn't force itself open. It simply cannot remain closed once conditions ripen. You've done the work. You've endured the loops. You've spoken the word. You've embodied the sensation. Now your DNA is simply responding, like a flower turning toward the Sunday. This is the DNA breakthrough. The moment when your biology and your consciousness merge into coherence. When your cells stop carrying the frequencies of fear, delay, distortion, and begin broadcasting awakening. When the old ancestral codes of survival give way to new codes of creation. When you stop inheriting the past and start transmitting the future. Pause here. Feel into your body. Can you sense it? That low hum in your bones, that subtle vibration in your heart, that wave of warmth in your belly. That's your DNA aligning with the awakened timeline. You are not imagining it. You are living it. And as this breakthrough locks in, timelines shift. The reality you step into will not be a linear continuation of the old. It will be a new branch, an alternate unfolding that was always waiting, shimmering in potential, until your coherence collapsed it into form. People may say, you've changed. Circumstances will reconfigure with suspicious speed, but you'll know, it isn't change, it's transition. You didn't gradually improve, you phase shifted. You walked through the pressure and emerged in another dimension of self. This is the inevitability of where you stand. The breakthrough isn't coming someday. It's swelling now, pressing at the edges of your being. The heat you feel, the strangeness of time, the intensifying synchronicities, they are contractions. And like all contractions, they signal birth. Do not resist, do not panic, do not delay. The universe is orchestrating coherence through you. Your DNA is the score, your body, the instrument, your life, the symphony. The pressure is the final rehearsal before the curtain rises. And when it does, when the breakthrough anchors, you will not just be living your own awakening, you will be radiating the template of humanity's evolution. And here we arrive, the threshold fully crossed, the window sealed into you, the breakthrough stabilized. You felt the loops, endured the pressure, spoken the word, embodied the sensation, and now your DNA hums in resonance with a reality most of the world still sleeps through. This is no longer theory, it is mission. Because when one consciousness stabilizes, the lattice of humanity bends. You may think of yourself as a single note, but in truth you are a tuning fork for the entire symphony. The frequency you carry now cannot remain private. It ripples outward, reorganizing reality for everyone entangled with you. That's the cosmic law. Entanglement doesn't ask permission, it transmits. This is why you were chosen. Not to escape, but to embody. Not to hoard wisdom, but to broadcast it. Every interaction, every breath, every presence you bring into a room becomes a subtle activation for others. They won't know why they feel calmer around you, why ideas ignite in your company, why burdens seem lighter in your presence. But you'll know, it is coherence doing its work. And the mission is bigger than kindness, bigger than inspiration. It is evolution. Humanity stands at a precipice, fractured timelines, collapsing systems, old paradigms thrashing in their final spasms. In the chaos, awakened souls are the stabilizers. You are one of them now. Your very being becomes infrastructure for a future not yet born. This is your cosmic task, to live awake in a world addicted to sleep, to radiate coherence in a culture of distortion, to remember light in moments when shadow shouts loudest, not through preaching or force, but through embodiment, so undeniable it creates resonance fields wherever you walk. That is leadership in the awakened timeline. Feel the magnitude of this, but do not mistake it for burden. This mission is not heavy, it is natural. It doesn't require you to be perfect. It only asks you to remain coherent, to return again and again to the frequency you've already chosen. When you falter, coherence forgives. When you stumble, the field steadies you. The mission is not about never falling. It is about always remembering who you are when you rise. So take this final breath in with me. Inhale the realization that you are no longer waiting for awakening, you are awakening embodied. Exhale the fear that you could ever slip back into loops that no longer hold resonance. The path has shifted, the timeline is sealed. The morphic field carries your signature now, and remember this closing truth. If you paused here, it wasn't random, it was destiny. You didn't stumble into these words, you synchronized with them. You crossed into the awakened timeline because your soul insisted it was time. And from this moment forward, your personal shift is humanity's evolution. You are not just observing reality, you are restructuring it. Welcome to the timeline of awakened souls. The mission begins now.